Welcome my students. Now again we are doing a problem from electrostatics, capacitors. Purpose of this class is very well known to you. Therefore I am not going to explain that once again. Now we straight away go through the question. Question is, in the given circuit shown in figure, there are two parallel plate capacitors, each of capacitance C. The switch S1 is pressed first to fully charge the capacitor C1 and then release. The switch S2 is then pressed to charge the capacitor C2. After some time, S2 is released and then S3 is pressed after some time. What is the question is? And we are given the options. The charge on the upper plate of C1 is 2 CV0. The charge on the upper plate of C1 is CV0. Charge on the upper plate of C2 is 0. The charge on the upper plate of C2 is minus CV0. Now, come to the basic concept is simply the charging of a capacitor and how they share their charge and who will decide the polarity. These are the concepts you have to discuss here. Now in the problem it is said that first of all we have to consider only these two parts. That is, we have got a cell is there, source is there, and this is the positive polarity, negative polarity, and we are charging by pressing S1. Capacitance C1 like this, the C1, and we are pressing S1 and its potential is given to V0. And this capacitor after some time you can see it will take ample time you are giving, and therefore this capacitor fully charges, saturated of charges, and the charge on this capacitor is given by Q1 I can see. CV or basic formula, so C1 into 2V0. That is the charge on the first capacitor when Q1 is pressed for some time and after some time the capacitor C1 is fully charged and the charge stored is equal to this much. Now next one. Now we are going to charge. We are going to press, S1 is released. Therefore, the charged capacitor C1 is isolated. We are releasing S1 and therefore C1 is fully charged and relieved off or isolated we say. So charge remains same. Now we are pressing S2. And on pressing S2, what is going to happen? We have to say that they are all identical positives. Even the name is C1, C2. Or identical capacity. Then when S2 is closed, this fully charged capacitor will share its charge with the S2. And since they are all the same, you can say that the polarity of this capacitor, this is positive and this is negative. Now we are going to say second part, when you press S2, this is our C2 or C1, sorry, fully charges with the C2V0. Now when C2 is pressed, S2 is pressed, C2 will share the charge and both of same capacity. Definitely they will share the charge equally. And hence you can see that this is C1 2V0. The charge, when after pressing this for some time, whatever charge here is shared and therefore C2 also get charged. And after charging, what we are going to do, we are going to release S2. On releasing S2, S2 is isolated. C2 is isolated. So after pressing S2, total charge is shared among both equally and therefore, and after some time we are going to release S2. On releasing S2, this C2 going to be isolated with shared charge within it. And how much is the charge? Half of it. And therefore, after that, what is the situation of C2? C2 is this one. And charge is equal to half of this. That is CV0. CV0. Because C1 and C2 magnitude of capacity is same to be the same. Therefore, 2V0 now shared. Therefore, is equal to CV0. Is the charge on this one. But this is plus and this is minus. This is after releasing S2 and before closing S3. This is the situation of our C2. Now what we are going to do? We are going to press S3. Now on S3 when closing, this is a charger capacitor with this positive polarity and this negative polarity charge, and the charging source here is our cell connected like this V0. Now what will happen here? Definitely, since it is a positive charge and connected to this negative electrode here, first of all, whatever charge is stored here is equal to CV0 will be cancelled out by this source, and the source drive the charge in its respective direction, so that this capacitor again get charges, but with opposite polarity, but with the same charge, but opposite polarity. So when this is pressed, what is going to happen after some time? After some time, what is going to happen is, whatever charge that stored here is CB0 with this positive and this negative, annulled by this source, and this empty capacitor now charges like this, so that this plate become positive. Upper plate become positive after charging. After S2, S3 is pressed for some time, we can see that this capacitor being charged like this. Upper plate become negative and lower plate become positive. And the charge is equal to CV0. Now go to the options. The charge on the upper plate of C1. Of C1 upper after some time. After activity, after we press here, release, press here and release, press here and release. What is going to happen? On pressing here, we have found that the charge on this C1 V0, or 2 CV0. But that is being shared with this 2. And on releasing S2, whatever charge on the upper plate of C1 is equal to CV0. But this is wrong, whereas this one is correct. Upper plate of C1 is CV0. Next, here after pressing and releasing, what happened? The charge on the upper plate of capacitor C2 is wrong. This one drive in opposite direction, therefore the charge stored here is equal to minus CV0. Therefore both the B and dog are correct, whereas A and C are wrong. Now this is a simple problem how whenever a charging source is there, he is the one which decide the polarity of the plate of a capacitor, not the capacitor. The amount of charge may be decided by the capacitor, but the nature of the charge held by the capacitor is decided by the source. So that is the principle you have to keep in mind. Yes, thank you.